right, so we got the On the Play versus HogaakVine in round 3 of the NYSE charity tournament. Let's begin. We have a turn 1 kill. No fetch lands for this Night's Whisper. I think this is just a mulligan, unfortunately. If I had a fetch land for this Night's Whisper, I would definitely keep it, I think. But this is a mulligan. How many Force of Vigor in their main deck? 4 Force of Vigor in their main deck. We gotta be pretty careful about that. Let's mulligan. This is an all-in. They kept on 7. Jesus. I could like bottom Citadel here, or sorry, I could like keep Citadel here and get like a mana crypt and go for a Citadel. Maybe that's fine play. Just bottom the Snapcaster Mage and just go for a Citadel play. If I take too much off of Vengevines on turn 1, it's pretty bad for me. If they have Force of Vigor, it's pretty bad for me. But I'm pretty sure most hands with Force of Vigor are going to be bad for me unless I have a Force of Will. And I could probably mulligan this and look for like a better Tinker hand or a better turn 1 PO hand. But I think a turn 2 Citadel is like a reasonable hand to be keeping, I think. And we know they don't have Chalice in their main deck, so they get 1 Bizarre activation to find Force of Vigor. And we start our Citadel at 17 with a land drop to be played. Because we're probably just going to go for Mana Crypt and go Mana Crypt, Opal, Lotus, Citadel. Alright, I'm in. Let's do it. We have to dodge a Vigor, but maybe they kept the 7 because it has a Vigor. They do get to know that we're on PO, so they should be looking for a Bizarre Vigor hand. It's a little hard to ask for a Bizarre Vigor hand, obviously. And then, yeah, I don't know. I think this is worth doing. I just don't know. Maybe, what if we vamp for an Ancestral instead? Are they a Mental Misstep main? They don't have a Mental Misstep main. Mental Misstep main. What if we vamp for an Ancestral and cast Ancestral, and then all we have to do is hit 1 Moxen? That way we draw more cards. Oh, they found a Bayou. So they're just going to play a Deathrite Shaman, so that means they probably have Vigor here. It seems unlikely they would keep a 7-card Once Upon a Time hand without Vigor, right? So let's go for Vamp Ancestral instead. We can still jam a Citadel, but at least we'll have some other cards. I mean, we can't jam a Citadel unless we hit a Moxen, but like if you're casting Ancestral, you're probably hitting a Moxen, right? I think this line makes more sense. Interesting. They're F6 though, so I guess I shouldn't have played this land out. Oh, I have to play the land out to cast it. Alright, I'm just gonna jam, I think. Just resolves. I'm not sure that's a keepable hand then. Well, let's hope we get somewhere with this. Oh, we didn't get somewhere with this. At least we can get a Tormod's Crypt, I guess. My Citadels are always just so bad. My Citadel hates me because I shit talk it all the time. Alright, that's it's interesting that they chose to keep this hand. I really wanted to play Ancestral to play around Vigor a little better, but this is fine, I guess. So we can't get Vengevine here, so we're actually in pretty good shape. Obviously we bricked on our Citadel, but it should be okay. They might attack the Karn down to 2 so that we can't lattice lock them, but obviously lattice lock is not the greatest with an active death ray anyways. And by active, I mean it attacks. I do think that getting Tormod's Crypt makes the most sense, just so that we are not susceptible to any kind of Vengevine hits. Because we have a, finite life total. Hit a land drop. Sure. Hit a second. Oh my god, I'm so bad at Citadel. Alright, we'll draw through it with a repeal to start. That's a good draw. Snapcaster after holding priority? Sure. I think it's better to go for Ancestral than Vamp, especially with a Merchant Scroll on the top of our library. Or sorry, on the top of our stack. Ancestral. I don't really want to draw into this Whisper though, so I probably will let the Merchant Scroll resolve. Oh, they do have an active Deathray Shaman. I guess that's fair. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I guess it's worth. Should I Tormod's Crypt myself? I don't take 2 life. Nah, whatever. Who gives a shit? I still have more PO things, so this is fine. Another PO on the top. I just lattice lock now. I guess I don't have enough mana. I guess I don't want to pay the 4 life, so I'll just do a regular PO first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, now I have all my POs and enough things, so this game is over. Just gonna use all my POs first, and then we'll talk about winning maybe. I have enough POs to draw my whole deck, so I have Snap PO and I have Sapphire already. All right, yeah, let's do the winning now. I just gotta make sure I don't leave myself with a mana crypt or anything like that. I guess I'll just draw into it with Brainstorm. Kind of want to see what hand they kept, actually, so I'll probably probe here. Alright. Maybe I should have probed earlier so they wouldn't concede. Yeah, we got an NYSE this year. We weren't even going to get a paper NYSE, so I'm happy to get an online one. So opponent's going to be bringing in possibly 2 Oof, 1 Chalice, 2 Assassin's Trophy, 4 Deafening Silence. Lavinia is very good against my opponent. I'm going to bring in 3. Balance and Swords are very good against my opponent. Karakas, Soul Guide, and Tormod's Crypt are good. Blightsteel, I like typically having the option. So I might even just board out the Citadel and just go with Blightsteel. And then we want to keep Mental Misstep, get rid of Hurkyl's Recall, get rid of Flusterstorm, get rid of Arn, get rid of a Top, get rid of an Opal, And then maybe a second opal here. It's possible. Yeah, second opal. And we'll just go with this lineup here. We are 100% to get an online Eternal Weekend. So that's been confirmed, in case you weren't aware. So we get to board in some Graveyard Hate, switch over to Tinker Colossus, an additional Lavinia Hate, and some creature removal. We cut down on our activatable artifacts because they're bringing in Collector Oof and Deafening Silence. Though we still probably want all of our POs. It's just that good. This is good for me. I'm going to submit this. Force of Will is not bad because they're bringing in 2 Collector Oof for Deafening Silence. And a Chalice. Collector Oof, Deafening Silence, Chalice. I mean, Force of Will obviously isn't the best in this matchup, but it has a role for sure. All right. What an awkward hand. It's like not great when it's countering a hollow one or a Hogaak, but it's fine. What an awkward hand. It's a pretty good hand if I draw any other mana source. To be honest. But if they have like silence into Force of Will, Force of Vigor, obviously we have only 1 counter. This is so greedy, but is it really a mulligan? Ah, it's so greedy, Justin. Don't keep it. But also, kind of love it. I think it's too greedy. I think I'm supposed to mulligan. I think I'm supposed to mulligan this hand. I'm about to concede due to inactivity? Nah, I'm just in the tank. I'm just in the tank, Magic Online. YOLO, chat. YOLO, chat. I do think this hand has a bunch of merit to it, so... My stomach is in pain. Fuck. What did I do? What did I do wrong, stomach? Alright. So if this is multiple Vengevines, we will probably have a problem, but we would have a problem with most hands if they played multiple Vengevines, so... If we hit a mana source, I do like where we're at. Especially if we hit a mana source that lets us play this Soul Ring and then like Demonic or Night's Whisper. Off our Jet. Like, I'm not going to force a hollow one. I kind of need to have force protection against Vigor. Alright, they pitched 2 Wastelands, which weren't going to be very good versus us. Hit a Rootwalla. 5 cards in hand. Now I might be interested in forcing a hollow one. Just because then there would be no clock. But protecting my mana artifacts sounds more important, to be honest. Alright, no clock. Love to see it. Did not hit a mana source. So time to go topping. I think they have a Vigor, which we'll have to counter. If I find a mana source on this turn, I probably... we didn't find a mana source. We found Ancestral Ponder. So, as long as we keep our things alive, we untap And we Night's Whisper into the blue sword. Maybe we Night's Whisper into the recall. I guess we could technically use our top to play Ponder now, but that doesn't seem like a good use of resources, right? So I would rather force the Vigor, draw into top, Whisper into recall, cast recall. Or do I want to just Demonic for Tinker? No, I'm mana short on Demonic for Tinker. We have to draw this Blightsteel, though, which is kind of disgusting. So maybe what we really want to do is... Is there any way that I can draw Ancestral and then cast Demonic? Maybe what we really want to do is not even worry about the Opal. We draw Ancestral for the turn. We Demonic for Academy. We could draw Opal now. Play Opal... And then Ponder into Ancestral. And then we just lose a top that way. Which I guess is fine. It saves our Demonic. So maybe that's the best way to do this. And then we can Demonic for something still. Maybe that's better. Maybe we want to just use Brainstorm. I'll probably have to pitch this Brainstorm, though. So now on our next turn, we can draw the top, Demonic away the whatever. Maybe just get a Tolarian Academy still, just so we can go off with this Ancestral. Does that change anything really, though? Shuffle what away? The Night's Whisper? I mean, we still have to shuffle away we're going to shuffle away, because as long as we resolve Demonic, we're shuffling away, and we want to resolve Demonic anyways. That might have been slightly missequenced. We might have lost some kind of value, but I'm not really sure what it was. But I think we're in like a crazy good position right now. Because I'm still shuffling. I'm still shuffling here. This is just force fodder. I don't think we need a Brainstorm. I think we're supposed to DT for Tolarian Academy. Opponent's already been to 2 Wastelands. And we obviously can't Tinker, so we might as well get a bunch of mana to use off of our Ancestral Recall. Obviously we can use Ancestral Recall off of this Opal before we even play the Academy. But I think Academy makes the most sense. Especially because opponents incentivized to pitch more Wastelands here if they have any. Because we don't even have a land in play. Yeah. Thanks, Diesel. We're in the thick of things. Already got smashed by a Pyroblast playa. Is Matt Murray just gonna never play Vintage and just win the NYSE GG easy? Oh, that's great. One of the Japanese players played in the NYSE. But it's midnight, so they drop. That's fair. Alright, so there's a Hogaak, which they can cast. Opponent can cast this Hogaak if they want to. Unless they drew Dryad Arbor by accident. Because opponent can crack, fetch into a Dryad Arbor, that puts 5 cards into the yard. I wonder if they know that they can play their Hogaak this turn. There doesn't seem to be any reason to hold up Foothills unless they accidentally drew Dryad Arbor. Kind of awkward. I mean, we're going to go off this turn unless they have double Vigor. It's like really hard for them to cast Vigor right now because what if we had Pio? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. This is like a really bad play, I think, because if I just Pio, I counter your Vigor at no cost. Kind of awkward. I think I wouldn't make this play. I'm gonna Demonic for Tolarian. I'm gonna Ancestral. I'm gonna play all of these pre-Academy. Ooh, do I even play Academy? I guess we should spin first. Maybe I screwed that up somehow. Did I fuck that up somehow? But I don't know what's on top. It's unfortunate that I can't resolve this Lavinia before they put a Hogaak into play. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play a Polluted Delta and pass, and at end of turn we'll crack and view, and then next turn we'll just try to go off with Mentor. Maybe we'll like keep this Lavinia. I don't think keeping Lavinia makes any sense. So I think we'll just do that and pass. I don't know if I screwed that up somehow. I wonder if there was a different line I could have taken. I think opponent was supposed to cast Hogaak last turn and then just didn't know that they could, maybe? It depends. If we see them pitch a Dryad Arbor right now, then... Are they just going to do it now? Why wouldn't you activate first? Well, maybe you don't want to draw into the Dryad Arbor. Well, maybe they drew the Dryad Arbor then. Or maybe is there a Dryad Arbor in their list? There's a Dryad Arbor in their list. Does this mean that they have a Deafening Silence? Oh, nice. We played around Strip Mine. Fuck. Alright, that's not the biggest deal right now. So if I get a white mana, and we're gonna put the top on top just to activate it. Now they're gonna play a Hogaak too, though. It gets kind of awkward for us. We will have a Mentor, but they'll have a Hogaak. See what we have on top. A bunch of garbage. Well, at the very least, we get double activation of Mentor and then lose. I guess we lose. I didn't think we were going to lose this game. Wow, we just lose. Fuck. Kind of brutal, actually. If we just had a Pio in our hand for their Vigor, then I wouldn't have had to force. But we just didn't have a Pio in hand and got wrecked. Kind of brutal. Kind of brutal. There really wasn't... I don't think we had actually anything that we could change there. We know what's on our top cards. We're going to get our Tolarian wrecked here. Yeah, we just lost this game, unfortunately. His opponent just attacked with Hogaak, possessed a 9. They had Wasteland? Number 3? I mean, I get one activation, but it's not fast enough. It's kind of unfortunate, to be perfectly honest. I guess that's why they didn't go for the Dryad Arbor Hogaak play. But the Dryad Arbor would have still cast Hogaak on the next turn. Doesn't really make any sense. I could have Whispered, for sure. It wouldn't have actually gotten us anywhere, but we could have done that. We didn't know that it wouldn't get us anywhere, but obviously our Ancestral just wasn't very good. We kind of needed to like hit a PO off it. Our Ancestrals have been very bad today. We've kind of just not had very solid variance, and that kind of happens, so. Like, we have had like pretty bad variance today, I would say. Alright, that's fine, we'll go to game 3. Look for a turn 1 kill. We know our top card is Monolith, right? So there's no reason to keep playing here. Yeah. Pretty awkward, to be honest. Yeah, so Nice Whisper is not blue. So it can't be Pyroblasted. It's not 1-drop, so it can't be Mental Misstepped. And if you play 5 Moxen, it's pretty easy to cast on turn 1, and it's card advantage instead of card selection. So, yeah, Nice Whisper is seeing a decent amount of play, as it should. And your life total doesn't super matter, typically. Maybe we'll just find a turn 1 Lavinia hand. Maybe we should be bringing in more Opals so that we have more likelihood of a turn 1 Lavinia hand. Is there any card on the draw that's like not as good? I don't really know if there is. Like maybe we can cut Yogg or something and get another Opal in there. Maybe we can just cut this Monolith for an Opal instead. I want to try up my chance of playing a turn 1 Lavinia. Maybe if we just cut this Narset, because it's pretty hard for them to not have a creature in play before you jam a Narset. But we are on the play. Maybe that's greedy. Could be greedy. I could see that being greedy. I could see this being greedy. Maybe not the correct board out. But I just want to like jam a Lavinia. Maybe we just want to put the Will back instead. Hopefully this, yeah, maybe we'll do that. Because the turn 1 Narset is good, but they can play around it pretty easy by just playing creatures. Alright, game 3. Will we die? On the play, yes. This is a keep. We'll just go Lotus, Brainstorm with a fetch land. Sure. Definitely Brainstorm first, right? Oh, not ideal. Not ideal. Put back. Maybe just put back Island Caracas. Crack into a Tundra. Maybe it's still just crack into an island to not get wastelanded. And then go for a spin instead of a ponder so I can hold up and force. So Soul Ring, top, spin top. This is like kind of awkward. I think I just want to fetch an island. I have an active opal. Nah, I'm gonna fetch a tundra. They're F6'd again? They really shouldn't F6 like that. I'm looking for a Lavinia. I didn't find a Lavinia. I found a mystical tutor. I also found a PO. I'm currently short on playing PO. Maybe what I want to do is just go for a Blightsteel. I hope a Blightsteel is good enough. End of turn, activate top, draw tutor for a tinker into a Blightsteel. Is that better than going for a PO? I don't know. I could go PO on top, draw PO for 4. Probably better. Unless they play like Deafening Silence and Chalice. I can't PO for 4 this turn. So I guess we'll leave PO on top and we'll just play out our opal and hopefully our 1 Force of Will is going to be good enough here. If they go like Deafening Silence, why would you play that first? Elector, oof. I might just put a Blightsteel into play. We spin our top, we put a mystical on top, we draw the mystical, cast the mystical on Tinker, untap Tinker with Soul Ring and Tundra, and then I have a Force backup. I don't need to do all this in response, I guess, but they should have no outs to this. Their best play is like Bazaar, activate Bazaar, put a bunch of creatures into play, and try to race. We know they have a Collector Oof though, so that might be their line instead. And we have a Force. If they went land Collector Oof to buy a turn, we could just force it and win on the spot. We got there. Blightsteel has won the most games out of all of our cards, huh? Blightsteel has been putting in the work. So is that what's win, loss, win? Something like that? Loss, win? All right. There are 4 matches remaining.